Nobody will be playing or casting this game on an empty stomach, and it seems like this time, for the game number 2 between the team Blodir plus Wesh versus Skull Crushers, we're gonna have a game on a random map generator, and it looks quite dicey. It's a 15 by 15, and there is some reclaim to be had in the middle. But not that much, honestly. The more important reclaim is actually gonna be straight around your own base, so I guess we will see players grabbing up this reclaim to power through the early T2 stage, grab some T2 maxes on their own, and then, lately, in the later stages, we will see them actually go and push for the Navy, because, well, Navy fights we will have. Like, I mean, there is no other way to actually go and cross through this position here. Even more so, as both Wesh and Blodir actually opted to go and play with the Cybrand ACUs, meaning that their, well, T2 hover option is unfortunately not a hover option, it's simply an amphibious tank, so they're gonna have to go and abuse the T1 frigate spam, as otherwise they will go and lose the Navy. After all, the T2 hover spam is great, and when I say great, believe me, that stuff can basically mow down all of your frigates the moment you have no more stuff to actually go and run away. So, if there is no place to kite for your frigates, you're basically gonna get swarmed to death by a bunch of angry amphibious tanks, and that's a really bad feeling, believe me. As someone on the receiving end of that, it's just... it feels bad. But yeah, we can see that both teams are already prioritizing the early Navy production, which is gonna be especially important for the bottom team, where they actually wanna go and abuse the early power of the Cybrand T1 frigates, which honestly are kind of broken on their own. But thankfully the Cybrand T2 stage is nowhere as good, meaning that, well, as a Cybrand player I get to keep my overpowered frigate, while having quite a mediocre, if even a bad T2 stage. Still, Mr. Wesh is gonna go for the early T1 bomber out from his second air factory, and it seems like he's gonna go and try to bomb the engineers that were supposed to be grabbing this reclaim here, but unfortunately for him, it seems like Mr. BulliedNoob is gonna opt for moving his ACU to the middle. I mean, he's gonna go and kill a part of the reclaim and the engineer, but in return, his bomber is actually gonna get spotted. He's gonna go now beeline for the opposing team engineers. The bombs are dropped, and it seems like 2 engineers are gonna go and fall down. Yes, they did fall down, as the little T1 bomber is gonna kill 3 engineers. But here comes the rescue squad. The 2 interceptors coming from the team, but unfortunately they fly a little bit too wide, and as such the bomber actually manages to get 1 more drop, but unfortunately it was aiming for the T1 power pigeons and it didn't manage to finish them off. I see that chat is actually having a good fun on its own. But yeah, for now it seems like the top team, the Team Skull Crushers is gonna be the one who's gonna win the air fight after killing off the enemy T1 bombers, and also after finishing off a few of their interceptors which were covering the bomber. Although, considering just how early stage of the game it is, I don't think there is much that the top team can actually do with the air control for now. The interesting thing is no, this frigate is actually not gonna do too much damage. If anything, it's gonna be nothing but a muzzle nation. As you can see, not only the first frigate for BulliedNoob is actually out, there is actually a single T1 submarine that is being produced in the naval factory. And yes, you're actually right, Auri Cocorico, that the islands are actually quite close. If anything, there is actually not that much place to run away with your own frigates, so the T2 amphibious spam would be actually quite devastating. The problem is, you are going up against double Cybran player on the other field, meaning that, well, you will have to field some of your own T1 navy to go and stop the Cybrans from basically overrunning your positions. But if you could get to the T2 stage uninterrupted, then yes. The hover option, especially for... only for AutoNoob, because he's the only one who have any kind of hover ability, would be actually quite good. Also, it seems like Mr. AutoNoob is gonna go and secure his own two bases, the plateaus, on the bottom part of the map, as the transport belonging to Mr. Wesh just got shut down with 4 engineers aboard. Goodbye, little guy, goodbye. So, the T1 submarines are on the field, and they are here to go and harass the units belonging to Mr. Blodir, who right now will either have to keep on running away with his frigates all the time, because let's be honest, you don't want to have your frigates being tickled all the time by a few submarines. That simply feels bad. And it makes you feel like you have to actually go and make a push. And the push is happening, as we can see, as the frigates are coming in to intermingle with the factories belonging to BulliedNoob. They're gonna go and finish off 2 engineers, gonna go and score a single kill on the enemy frigate. But unfortunately, it seems like nothing else is gonna be happening here, as not only the frigates from Mr. AutoNoob are here to go and save the day, there is already 5, I repeat, 5 T1 submarines for BulliedNoob, meaning that the frigates belonging to Blodir just have to keep on running away. Otherwise, they're just simply gonna get and call down. Yep, I will call you Aurico, although your name Auri Cocorico is also fun to pronounce, like Auri Cocorico. You could make some kind of a jingle with it, I guess. Like, who knows, maybe it will turn out that you're actually selling some kind of stuff on the French market with such a good jingle. If you want, you can even go and, call me if you need some kind of voiceover. I will gladly help you out. But coming back to the Navy, it seems like the bottom team is the one that is actually on the back foot right now. Because the eerily cheeky play to go for the Amas submarine is actually paying off. As there is not... oh, never mind. Here comes the Barracudas for Mr. Blodir, and there is actually 25 of them in the queue, meaning that is a lot of T2 Navy that we will see in here. The Barracuda is already opening fire against them, as the T1 submarines are trying to catch it. But that is not gonna happen. They are called submarine killers for a reason, and as such the T1 submarine navy for Mr. BulliedNoob is not gonna pay off. And right now it is a time for the comeback, as Blodir is making a push with his little frigate army. Just look at this. It seems like when the submarine killers are gonna get here and get rid of all of this T1 submarine, there's gonna be nothing to go and protect the naval yards for Mr. BulliedNoob, which is a really dicey thing to happen. He's also going for the T2 naval upgrade. So yes, this is looking quite dicey, as Mr. Bully is actually a little bit behind on the navy, but oh yeah, the submarine killers are reaping their benefits as the T1 subs are dying one after another. It is a bad day to be a sailor on the submarines belonging to Mr. BulliedNoob, as the last one is about to go and sail down straight to the bottom of the sea. And it seems like Mr. AutoNoob is right now under a heavy attack from the frigates belonging to Blodir, as we can see him losing some of the build power here in the base. Although, yep, Wesh is here to go and push in from the other side. Meaning that if they can just shift G all of their units and finish off all of this production here. And there is nothing that AutoNoob will be actually capable of doing against that. Oh, here comes the torpedo bombers from Mr. BulliedNoob. A great choice if you ask me to go and get rid of the pesky T2 submarines. And also, when we look at the amount of interceptor for the bottom team, there is 4 for Wesh, 4 for Blodir, meaning that there is only 8 interceptors for the bottom team. Meanwhile, the top team have already 20 intis for Mr. AutoNoob and also another 10 for Bully. Meaning that these little bad boys here, the T2 torpedo bombers, are gonna have a field day in here. It's gonna be like a field trip. They're gonna be capable of doing whatever. Oh my. A small drop actually happening for Mr. Wesh, as it seems like he's actually gonna be capable of setting up the small proxy here on the other side of the canal, bullying the enemy naval production is not enough. He's also gonna go for the cheeky proxy, although considering that he doesn't really have the air control, this proxy is most likely gonna go and die to a few T2 gunships from AutoNoob, or maybe he's just gonna go and walk his ACU in here. But the more interesting part is that right now we are seeing a big incursion happening from the Blodir, who's actually trying to go and push in deep into the base belonging to BulliedNoob. But fortunately for him, he still have the air cover, meaning that the torpedo comes, the torpedo, whatever, the bombers, are gonna go and deal some damage to the opposing destroyers, while Bully is still trying to go and stabilize his own naval production. We have the first T2 destroyer out for him, but the damage done to the production is gonna last for a little bit longer. Meaning that instead of going for the Bully, he's gonna go for the AutoNoob. That is, if Wesh is actually gonna move his frigates on time. The torpedo bombers belonging to Bully have been just eradicated from the sky. And we have the airfight happening as interceptor from both Bully and Mr. Wesh are actually gonna intermingle in the air. Oh boy, but here comes the cavalcade for Mr. AutoNoob, saving the day for BulliedNoob and clearing out the sky from all of the interceptors belonging to the bottom team. Oh, but watch out, as it seems like all of the Navy production belonging to Mr. AutoNoob is gonna burn down, as we have an angry Cybran Navy just pouring in one after another, killing off the naval yards and leaving nothing alive in its wake. As such, AutoNoob is out of the Navy. He's been forced out. But Bully is still in it, but the question is, can he actually stay alive for a little while longer to go and actually manage to balance it out? Because it looks like there is actually way too many frigates coming out for the bottom team. Wesh with 20 frigates, Blodir with 30 and Mr. Bully with only but 11 frigates, meaning that if the bottom team actually decides to, they can just go and grab all of this navy and just push in here. Make a decision, push in and finish off all of this. Just make it burn like that. Make it burn. Okay, never mind. It seems like it's another round of let's see how many torp bombers we can actually lose in a single strike. Although it seems like Mr. Bully is actually gonna go and say no, I'm not gonna risk my units again. He's gonna go and lose 2 of the torpedo bombers, but this is way better than losing all of them to the Cyberun Navy. Because, well... Cyberun Navy, the T1 frigate, the backbone of the military, is a powerful unit. Not only it is cheap, it also have a lot of firepower for its cost, and especially the anti-air on it is just beautiful. It basically shreds any kind of amassed T2... Okay, T2 torp bombers, speaking about them. They are coming in to go and finish off the destroyers belonging to Mr. Blodir. This little destroyer is out of commission. Although I'm not really sure if this was worth the strike here, because he's gonna go and lose all of his torpedo bombers, only but 3 of them managed to stay alive. Meaning that this wasn't such a good idea to go and push in. Even more so, as the frigates belonging to the South team, the Blodir plus Wesh team, are amassing here in the front of the naval yards belonging to the team Squall Crushers. And it seems like a single ship G is all that's needed to go and finish it off. Although unfortunate, the frigates belonging to Mr. Wesh are unfortunately not doing anything at all. They are not going in. Meaning that this is actually turning out quite good for the top team. Because half of the units belonging to the bottom team wasn't shooting. It wasn't dealing any kind of damage. No, nothing. They weren't even soaking the damage. Although no, never mind, a bad move by Mr. BulliedNoob cost him all of his frigates. Here comes the torpedo bombers, they're gonna go and try to shoot down the remaining T2 destroyers. As the destroyers are falling down one after another, but Mr. Wesh, what are you doing here? What is this? Leave this alone. Go here. Here. Kill this. Kill it. Burn it. Kill it. But no. It seems... Oh, that's why. Why we are looking at what is happening in the Navy. It seems like Mr. AutoNoob was actually dealing a lot of damage behind this here. Behind the scenes, as we can see, some drops happening, killing a few T2 Maxes belonging to Mr. Wesh. But it seems like the bottom team actually have missed their chance to go and finish off all of this build power, and to make sure that the top team is out of the naval game. Which is sad. It is really, really sad. But nothing we can do about that. After all, we aren't APM gods, we aren't AI, and as such we can't see what is happening everywhere at the same time. There is an airfight happening between the Intis belonging to Mr. AutoNoob, and it seems like by the sheer amount of interceptors in the air, they're gonna simply mow down all of the air units belonging to Wesh. A really, really sad day for the bottom team, as it seems like there is even more cheeky T1 drops featuring T1. Actually, this is a T2 transport and a few Lobos. There is a flak in here, but it seems like... Oh no. Okay, never mind. The interceptors are gonna go and deal with... Oh, T3 air is up and running for Mr. Wesh. Meaning that actually they might be capable of getting the air control up and running. That is, if they don't lose too much economy here, because the Zulis are here to go and wreak havoc. One T2 max down. Another one under heavy fire is also gonna go and fall down, as the T1 bombers from Wesh are gonna go and scramble to go and deal with the Zui menace. But it seems like even the third one is gonna go and fall down, so... A beautiful, beautiful T1 drop from Mr. AutoNoob. And there's even more Zeus here and there. Just an absolute menace. And while Mr. Wesh is busy dealing with the air over the bottom part of the map, Mr. Bully is gonna take the chance to... Well, he did take the chance to go and torp the enemy navy, but like I said, Cyber Navy is quite resilient against that. And goddammit, I'm getting really hungry right now. I could use a pizza or something. Oh boy, even more T2 Nexus have died in here. So yes, a lot of damage being done by the random T1 units all over the place. As the drops from Mr. AutoNoob are just paying in dividends. Another navy fight happening on the top. Although it seems like not a single team is actually gonna earn too much of an advantage after this small skirmish, we can see that most likely a single T2 cruiser is... no, it's gonna stay alive on just 100 HP. And with Mr. Blodir actually finally going for the push against the enemy navy, this might turn out into actual victory for the bottom team. They just need to go and push in and make sure that the top team is pushed out of the navy. Which actually should be possible when we look at the state of the navy. There is way more units. No, never mind. Another T2 torp run by BulliedNoob is gonna yet again equalize this battle. They're gonna go and finally shoot down one of the cruisers, but there is more in the wake. Meaning that the Blodir navy is still quite well protected from the enemy T2 torpedo bombers. But the question is, are they gonna prevail? Oh, it looks like there is also some small skirmish happening at the bottom, where AutoNoob is still trying to get back into the navy. This is the 4th time that his actual naval factories are getting destroyed by his opponent. But yeah, this is not looking too pretty, and finally it seems like Mr. Blodir is gonna win the navy fight. Although at the cost of actually, when we look at the economy, even though the bottom team is actually firmly in control for now, they're gonna go and make sure that the opposing team is finally out of the water. They are still behind in economy. Wesh, after all of the devastating drops by Mr. AutoNoob, is stuck on only 40 mass per tick. 40 mass per tick. That is, well, not a good look for him, because we are 20 minutes into the game and you have only 40 mass per tick. And while yes, the top team have managed to actually go and lose out on the navy fight, they're actually quite ahead in the eco game. Mr. AutoNoob is ahead by 140 mass per second compared to Wesh. Oh boy, that's a lot of mass that you cannot actually deal with. And Bully is on 80 mass, so not that much behind Mr. Blodir, who's on 120. Meaning that while this game might be looking quite bad for the top team, holy fuck, we actually have Silems. The Silems are actually pushing in. They're gonna go and finish off the T2 pigeons belonging to Mr. Bully, and it seems like he's actually gonna go and lose another one of his pigeons. Okay. The fire have been diverted towards the enemy ACU, as it seems like Mr. Bully was trying to come closer and closer, as he's trying to go and tank some of the shots with the ACU, so that the... oh no, all of the power is down and the T2 RHQ is gone. The Corsairs are gonna go and come out to try to shoot down the enemy. Oh, Bully, no. No. Why? Why would you do it? I mean, guys, you're just so far ahead when it comes to the economy and everything else. So I'm not sure why you would just go and suicide your units like that. Even more so when AutoNoob is still dealing massive damage to Wesh. Like, all of his drops are still dealing damage. As we can see that the top team is still 90 mass ahead compared to the bottom team, which is a lot. They're actually coming back to the air game with the ASF and other stuff, but the problem is gonna be how do you... Never mind. The Salems are on the land, so unfortunately the enemy cruisers are no longer capable of providing cover fire against the enemy air units. So just a few of T2 gunships, some even maybe T1 bomber spam is gonna be enough to go and clear out these Salems, and they're gonna turn out to be nothing else but a mass detonation. And AutoNoob says no, I'm not gonna try hard this game, and as such he control Ks and goes, GG, well played, we're gonna see you in the game number 3.